Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of JAPArians podcast. It's your boy Adeboy, and joining me today, as usual, my co-host Emmanuel Ade. Today we'll be joined by Kayode, who I call Make. It was my class governor while we were back in Unilag, and he has experience that is relevant to our topic today. Today we'll be talking about the JAPA crew, and we'll be focusing particularly on the UK, United Kingdom. That is people that have traveled to the UK and the experiences and all. And we're also hoping that he will be able to share his experience with us to be able to give people some background to how life is over there and the entire process of uh, going to the United Kingdom to study or to relocate. The whole idea of migration is not new, especially for Nigeria. Way back from the days of visa lottery, where people would try to move their families, and even when visa lottery ended, a lot of people still got visitors visa to Canada, to UK, to the United States, and some of them decided to stay. But over this past few years, let me say 3 years now, there's been an increase in that rate of emigration out of Nigeria. And United Kingdom has, let me say, been one of the major beneficiaries of this emigration, especially of very highly skilled Nigerians. And so we are trying to shine a spotlight on that to be able to know exactly what is going on in the UK. Why is the UK such an attractive place? And so Make will be giving us his experience, and he will be telling us a little bit about the whole thing. Emmanuel, you want to give us a little bit of background before we bring in our guest?
Yeah, yeah. Hello, everybody. So,
Hi.
actually, welcome, our very, very guest with us today, Mr. Kayode.
Thank you.
Just like you said earlier, Tomi, you actually did say a lot, and you opened our minds to the concept behind the traveling and probably what people should look at, how it should be, and not just the concept of Japa alone. We've heard and seen a lot of people go and run only to get there and get stranded. We've heard and we've seen a lot of people who just jump on opportunities without planning. So one of the things we'll be looking at today is that how the planning should actually go on ahead, with how interesting the UK sounds, with how beautiful it looks, with how let me borrow the word panimorous and panimora it is. So we should also learn to plan ahead and not just jump on it because of our friend. So I think it's nice to and ask Mr. Kayode what he thinks of.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is a wonderful question. I would say that Nigerians in the UK, especially, are the ones causing a whole lot of problems for people back home. They are not telling them the real situation of what is actually happening in the UK. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
There's this perspective, or let me just say analogy, by the Nigerians in the UK that, oh, don't worry, with 2 million, just apply for a study visa. When you get to the UK, you start working. In fact, some will say that before school resumes, you can get a job, you start working. And once you start working, you pay your tuition. But those who are in Nigeria, I won't say they are ignorant and I won't say they are gullible. Because if it was me as well, I would also fall for such.
Jump on it.
You understand my point? But the reason why I was unable, why I didn't find myself in that kind of situation was because, I already had people over there and I also did my own research.
Okay.
It's a real life ball game. Late last year, a friend of mine called me and said, okay, please, someone is stranded at Heathrow and that please, I need you to send me £20 for her to be able to get a place to stay, you know, in Wolverhampton, to get an hotel. I said, what happened? She said, what happened was that her cousin, you know, that promised her accommodation, you know, on the day that she arrived, you know, in the UK at the airport, her phone went off. I was like, I said, wow.
Phone went off.
I said, okay. I said, you know what? I said, you know what? Lo and behold, I don't have 20 pounds, but I'll send you 10 pounds, which I did. And she was able to, you know, assist, call our other friends. And one thing you should know is that many of us are salary earners. Do you get, even though some skilled workers, you know, earn weekly, some in 2 weeks and all. So what my advice for people back home is this, is that before, it's good to JAPA. Everybody has a reason behind JAPA. My own reason behind my own JAPA was to, you know, was to expand my knowledge, you know, meet people from diverse cultures where I can learn from them, where we can also exchange ideas, cross-fertilization of ideas, which will, you know, help me develop my personal and professional growth. Do you get the point? So some, the way I see it, some does not see it that way. We all have, you know, our own different views to as JAPA. Do you understand? Yeah. So my candid advice for people back home is that before they move, it's good to move. Yeah, it's good. It's part of experience. It's part of exposure. It's part of adventure. You need to do your research. Many of us, many Nigerians, let me say 98% Nigerians do not do research. Because Kayode is in UK, whatever Kayode tells me is fine.
They just believe.
They just believe.
Exactly.
Okay, to your point about research, if, okay, let's say I'm in Nigeria right now, maybe I have the money to travel yet, or maybe I'm still saving. What are the things that, where do I do that research? Like, can you point me to like things?
Okay, good. I'm going to ask you. I'll say, okay, I'll say to me, how much do you have? How much have you saved? Oh, I've saved 5 million.
Yeah.
I'll say, okay, no problem. Let me look at schools where you can go to, affordable schools, and not just affordable schools. Cities where there are jobs, because not all cities in the UK have jobs. These are mistakes people are making. You will look for instance, there's a school in Hull, University of Hull is one of the cheapest, you know, and affordable schools in the UK, but there are no jobs in Hull. In fact, the remote areas, there are no jobs. People start moving to Birmingham, moving to, you know, Manchester, Liverpool, Merseyside, move to London. They don't do their research. And these are the things that you need to look out for. Aside that, you need to look out for accommodation. Is it cheap? So there's what we call scale of preference in economics. You need to ensure that your wants commiserate with what you have, so that when you get here, you won't get stranded. Because on your visa, it's 20 hours per week. You can only work 20 hours per week. Then during time break, you can work more than. But the truth is, with that 20 hours per week, it is not enough to pay your tuition.
How much more the cost of living too?
How much cost of living? Okay, let's assume maybe you are earning, minimum wage, let's say 11 pounds, and you are entitled to 20 hours per week. 20 times 11, that is, let's say 20 times 10, let's say 211 pounds times 4, less than 850 pounds. It's not even enough to pay for, okay, even if you pay your rent, you will pay for transport, you pay broadband, you buy food. How much is left? Much more, you start paying your tuition. So these are the scenarios. You've seen there are a lot of cases right now in UK schools that some Nigerians have been asked to withdraw. They've told them to go. They've contacted them to go. They're unable to pay their tuition. Again, Nigerian agents are not helping. They are not telling them the real situation. Let me share you a story. It was posted on our group that we are looking for someone who can borrow us £4,000. And I said £4,000. Okay, I now chatted the guy up. What happened? He told me that his friend is stranded in Nottingham University. I think the tuition is around £12,000 or so. I can't really remember. So you have to pay it 3 times. So the agent in Nigeria did not tell the person that you are going to pay it 3 times. You know, the agent just told him that, don't worry, once you pay £4,000, you are sorted. Because most of those agents, they are also, you know, they partner with some schools in the UK and some does not. So they're only interested in their own money, but they will not tell you the situation. By the time you now get to the money, you now get stranded. So my advice for anyone that wants to travel, ensure that, okay, my school fees is £10,000. I have 10 million naira. 10 million naira is going to sort out my tuition. Now, I need additional £10,000 for my feeding, accommodation, or let's say living expenses. You need to work towards that additional £10,000 in order for you not to get stranded.
So, Kay, do you think
I'm not with the money?
Yeah,
exactly. If you don't have money, safe to say, just stay back at home. If it was me at this point, to be honest, Tomi, I can't come to the UK. The UK is expensive now to come into because of there is no Form A, you know, the rate of pounds to naira, £1 is now 1,050. Do you understand? So how do you expect me to raise such amounts? Let's even leave that aside. What about living expenses? What about flight tickets? You can see the high price in tickets.
But this idea that people now work with a spouse movement, in the sense that because they go with somebody, it becomes easier, and then somebody will be working while they are going to school. Is that also a acceptable idea?
Or is it a realistic option?
The truth is, it is partially realistic and not. Because now, as a dependent that come in, let's assume I brought in my dependent and I'm studying. How much will my dependent make? The highest my dependent is going to make is less than 2,002 or 2,500. Do you know how much my dependent is going to pay as tax? And for you to earn 2,500 as an unskilled worker, my brother, in the UK, if you are not careful, you collapse. As an unskilled worker, Ade told me the maximum you can earn is £12 or £13
per hour.
Per hour.
And you do 40 hours a week.
Okay, let's assume you work every day. The more you work, the higher the tax you pay. After paying tax, are you listening? After paying tax, income tax, you are going to pay national income. You are going to pay pension. All these are non-negotiable. So how much is left?
So even though you are like an immigrant that doesn't have all the papers for like permanent residency yet, you are paying all those things to the government, and you may end up not even benefiting from it.
That's the truth. Let me share. Let me give you this point. As a student, after you graduated, you are entitled to 2-year post-study. If you are unable, if either of you and your spouse are unable to get a skilled work, a tier 2 visa, do you know how much is post-study per person? £2,000 per head. That is
you have to pay that even to get the post-study.
Exactly, you have to pay that money for you to get the postgraduate visa for 2 years. That is £4,000. You and your wife. Imagine you now have a son or you have daughter, maybe a family of 5. That is £10,000. How do you want to save that money?
So basically, based on your, if I get this maths correctly, it's almost better that, okay, as part of planning to go to the UK for study, it's better to have, for instance, have your entire tuition ready.
Exactly. You'll be safe.
To be safe. Even if you are going to say, okay, whatever job you do over there will be for accommodation, food, and
exactly.
Tuition, if you don't want to like have hypertension, it's better to just have your tuition ready.
Okay, now let me bust your brain. Now that there is no Form A, If you come into the UK, maybe your tuition is £15,000. If you've already paid £5,000 back home. Now you have to pay £10,000. Maybe monthly, you have to be paying to £2,000 every month. To me, as a student, how will you be able to raise that money? Even if you raise £2,000, won't you pay rent? Won't you pay bills? You will get frustrated. If you are not careful, you will fall into depression. The slogan is, if you are not rich, do not bother going to the UK. If you are not rich, do not bother going to the UK, or else you will get stranded. To me, I've seen people here spend 5 years, spend 10 years, they hardly save £500. And you now know the funny part is that the system, you are going to make a whole lot of money from the system, but the system has a way of getting back that money again.
Oh, not too much.
You will not know. In my previous work, I stopped paying pension. I said, no, I want to opt out for my pension. Before I knew it, my national income rose up.
They're collecting it one way or the other.
They collected it one way or the other until I had to revert back. So you can't cheat the system. It's not possible. Even if you cheat the system, they are waiting for you. There's no way you want to go about it. As I speak to you, in Glasgow, a 2-bedroom in Glasgow, a private 2-bedroom in Glasgow is between £800 to £1,000 per month, excluding bills. And it's even cheap. Do you understand? Right now we are in the summer, we are not even using heater. Do you understand? But as soon as winter comes in, prices goes up.
So let me ask you this: between now we've talked about student. Would you advise people to take the sponsorship, like work route, to come into the UK? And do you think that is even more cost effective, or what are the pros and cons of that one?
It's cost effective for those that want to come through, the skilled work, the tier 2. Cost effective in the sense that if the job is in the care sector, you are exempted from paying IHS. If the sponsorship is 5 years and you are in care, if you are not in care, you are going to pay IHS for 5 years, and I think it's around £4,000 or £3,500, excluding visa fee. As I speak to you now, there's a news going on. The Prime Minister is planning to increase, the IHS fee to 2,700 per person. Skilled work is going to rise to £30,000.
Wow.
Now, for you to come into the UK through the work route, it means that job that you got must be paying you £30,000. And there is no job in the UK that can pay you £30,000. That £30,000 is a senior level role, managerial role. So what they are trying to tell you is that in a nutshell, you people should stay back home, or you go to alternative countries.
So basically, it's almost like we are back to because all these things you are saying brings my mind back to Dr. Laja. Back then, it's almost like it's not just brain drain in terms of taking the best minds from Nigeria. It's also they are directly taking resources, money away from Nigeria because of this, all this amount of money that Nigerians have. People are selling properties and doing all these things just to relocate. And it just comes back to this whole idea of neocolonialism. But then, do you think at the end of the day, for someone who sacrifices all these things, sell property, sell house or whatever, to put, whether it's true for education route or for sponsorship route, do you think it's worth it at the end of the day?
Tomi, it doesn't worth it. You asked me why.
Right.
Thank you. Now, you sold a property. Maybe the property is worth 40 million, but because of JAPA, you sold it for half price. That is 20 million. Do you know the years it's going to take you to save up that money? And don't forget that while you are working, you are paying tax. You are going to pay bills. Only if you get an high-paying job. Maybe those who are in the tech sector and those who are in the healthcare sector. And the healthcare, maybe I'm talking about senior nurses and doctors. Of recent, we heard, in fact, was it not recently, they went on strike because of low pay. They said, because as I speak to you, more than 10,000, more than, in fact, there's an article, I can't remember the actual numbers of doctors and nurses of UK origin that has emigrated to other countries, to Canada, to US, to Australia, to New Zealand. They are also having brain drain as well, yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't want it.
Over here, it's more like go there and you go and prosper. That's the picture being painted.
But the reality is different. I don't know about US, I don't know about Canada. But yeah, you are going to pay. You don't get anything free. You pay for it.
Yeah.
So to me, if you have your money, well and good.
Because one of the things, just keep building on it at home. One thing I would actually like to ask is, I kind of heard ages that just like you're saying and you mentioned high-paying job, like one would have to become a senior officer to get that paying job. So I kind of heard something like in the UK, before you even get a good paying job in the first instance, you have to have gone through the educational system and be certified. How true is this? And is it even possible to get an high paying job or a good paying job as an immigrant in the UK?
Or do you have to be like a genius, the top of your class before you are even considered for those roles?
Well, on this, I'm going to give my view is going to be a subjective one. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Out of 10 Nigerians that studied in the UK, hardly was the only one that I can say, I've used that certificate to work.
Wow.
It is
what they actually came to study.
Yes. In fact, all the Russell Group schools, like all the like the US Ivy League, people are saying that. For instance, I graduated from University of Glasgow. I studied international relations, and my tuition as at then was 2750. Though the university paid part of it. Do you understand? I came through University of Glasgow Nigerian Chancellor Award. People were now saying that top universities in the UK are chucking out graduates, yet there are no jobs for international students. What is this? What are the what measure are these top schools doing to assist international students in securing a job? Nothing.
After collecting so much money from them,
after collecting so much money, do you not know that course that I paid 2750 for as at 2021 is now 23,800? That is almost 24,000 pounds.
For the same value of education.
Exactly. And you know the funny part? Last year, the government generated 2 billion pounds from Nigerians. 2 billion pounds.
Not be juju be that.
Was what Nigerians added to the economy. From international students, they generated close to 50 billion pounds. And now they are not saying
we don't get money.
And they are not saying that they're not saying they don't want international students to bring independence anymore. And that only those who are doing PhD or those who are in MRS, those who are doing master postgraduate research, that can only bring independence. Now, me as a family man, how do you expect me to now come to the UK and study and focus on my academics when my family are behind, are at home? I won't be able to do well. And that's why Canada is opening our borders, coming up with different routes to bring in immigrants. Australia too has relaxed our own immigration policy together too with New Zealand, even Germany too.
Now, okay, all this brings me to one thing. Recently, this Tiamiyu guy came out and he was talking from every side of his mouth, and there was a lot of backlash that guy, you are exposing Nigerians and this and that. Some of my own perspective to some of the things he said was, okay, you know what? even if you feel like you know these things, you should understand the platform you're talking from, and you should know how these people will use what you are saying. He came out to say he had the best intentions, but anyways, my point here is, for the things people have attributed a lot of policy change in the United Kingdom to what he said. How true is this? Do you think what he said actually had any significant contribution to any policy change in the US towards Nigerians or like international students generally? Or do you think that, yeah, maybe they had their own plans, they just wanted to use him as scapegoat and say, oh, it's your person that said it, so that is why we are taking action?
Exactly. You've nailed it. They just needed something to sell to the British public. That the reason why we are introducing, we want to curb, we want to reduce net migration. Yeah, let me use the word net migration. That is when immigrant is is lesser than immigrant. Is that it's because of what this guy has said, that people are not coming into the UK to come and read. They are only using study routes as a means of escape into the UK. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And that was why some Nigerians were angry with BBC that this guy is independent. He is not the best person to have answered this question. It is we, the students,
that if you really care about our welfare and you want to know what's going on.
Exactly.
You know the right.
You can't just generalize. No, it's not done.
They now made him a poster boy for anti-international student laws and things like that.
Exactly. As I speak to you, you can't bring from January next year, you can't bring in your dependent. You can't. In fact, there's even a law that international students will only be coming to the UK if they are admitted by top universities in the UK. Yes.
How possible we hear of this?
So what they are looking for are the best brain, the best of the best.
Another form of brain drain.
Yes. So what they are saying is that immigrants coming to the country are not adding anything to the economy because all of them are unskilled workers. Meanwhile, these unskilled workers, are they not paying tax? They are paying tax. They are. Unskilled workers, before they leave home, before they leave Nigeria, they pay for tuberculosis tests, they pay IHS, they pay for visa fee, they pay TLS for biometrics. Nothing is free. So why are you not saying, after you've collected their money, why are you not saying that you don't want them anymore?
Funny enough, I actually had a friend regarding what you just said. They've done everything possible. They paid for everything. All that was left was for him to collect his papers and then take his flight. All of a sudden, we got a mail from the embassy saying that the name of the recipient is different from the name on his document. So they canceled the worker after collecting all the whole money. I was like, I don't understand. What is going on? And the funny aspect was the mistake was actually being done. The mistake was done by the British officials themselves. What they did was like trying to write Tunde and then mixing U with O, and the other names were correct. So it was a typo from their side, and this was something they could fix. Even pay the lawyer to work the whole thing.
Maybe an immigration lawyer
collected money. Exactly, the lawyer collected money and everything. Probably the lawyer will reach back tomorrow because it has been one excuse to the other. And I mean, I actually feel pity for the guy because different means of collecting money from Nigerians, people all over the world. So I actually want to ask one other question, which is okay. Firstly, let me ask, what part of the UK would you say is best for anyone planning to just probably JAPA or come over there? What part would you say?
Actually, I'm based in Scotland, and I've been to England. I went to London, and I would say that London, is no different from Lagos. Overcrowded,
Home outside home.
overcrowded, highly connected through trams, trains. In fact, it's a beautiful city. I
London
would
like
say,
Lagos.
yeah, I would say, I would say Scotland. Yes, because Glasgow, where I'm based, which is more like the
Major city.
commercial part of Scotland, is relatively peaceful, not overcrowded, like London. Do you understand? So those who are in England too would say that England is better to raise children. But for me, at least, I've been to some cities in England, and I would say that Scotland is much more better. Though Scotland is a bit cold, more than England, as well as, and again, Wales too is okay. Is okay. There's no part in the UK that is not good, but I think I would prefer Scotland,
Okay.
compared to other.
But where will you consider
Because of the
Scotland
job
the top
opportunities
in terms of cost of, for instance, for a student, cost of schools, vis-a-vis being able to find good paying jobs? Will you say Scotland is like the best place to be?
Well, in terms of cheaper accommodation, in terms of the people, Scottish people are much more accommodating, than other parts. Those who have related it, yes, those who have related it, they are much more accommodating, compared to others. And you need to open your ears before you can, hear what they are saying, because
it's not the regular English.
Yeah, not regular English. They are Scottish, and their major language is the Gaelian, is it Gaelic or Gaelian language? Do you understand? So I'll say, in terms of job opportunities, England has it. In terms of job opportunities, especially London, England has it. But for peace of mind, Scotland is okay. Just as we have cheap schools in England, we also have cheap schools too in Scotland. We have UWS, we have Glasgow Caledonia, we have Edinburgh Napier, Robert Gordon, and installment plan is much more affordable, for you to pay. But University of Edinburgh, St Andrew, University of Stirling, University of Dundee, and University of Glasgow, the tuition is on the high side. So I won't even advise people to go to top schools where you're going to pay a whole lot of money. So, and right now, I think what there is an association called 10,000 Black Interns. I think they're really doing a good job. So what they are doing now is, before you graduate or a recent graduate, you have to apply to them. You are given 3 choices. The first choice, you choose the areas of interest you want. So what this organization is now doing is that they are now they now work with all the organizations in the UK. Maybe your first choice was politics. Maybe your second choice was HR, and your third choice is let's say compliance. What they will now do is, for the first choice, 10,000 Black Interns will mail, organizations who are maybe think tanks, government institutions. You understand what I'm trying to say? So those people will now send you a mail. If there are vacancies for internship, they'll now mail you. Then you apply. If you are qualified, you get in, and from there you can kickstart your.
And then can that transform into like a permanent job?
Yes, of course. Yes. So 10,000 Black Interns organization is really doing a wonderful job as regards that. Yeah,
maybe in the description on our YouTube page, we would put maybe a link to that for people that are in the UK that don't know about.
Yes. 10,000 Black Interns. Yeah, it's really, really good. I think I had a whole lot of companies looked into my profile. Some I got rejected, some I made it to the finals. Until when I later got a permanent job in the energy sector. Do you understand? So
so basically, at least they gave you a platform.
Yeah, they gave me a platform. Yes, and I would even say that because what their HR does is a CBT, we call it competence-based test, to test your IQ. They want to know if you are a problem solver. And that is why many Nigerians are unemployable, those who came into the UK. They are failing this competence-based test. So, you know, I've faced some HR, and I've seen how this, you know, test looks like, and I think it really helped me to.
And as a scholar from time,
So
I'm sure it made it even easier. My K was one of the best graduating students of our set, so I know that one is like piece of cake.
bad guy. Bad guy.
Okay, now, so my next question is, and this probably is my final question, except if something else comes up from our day. If right now you're in the UK, you're working, you are doing everything, but there's this Yoruba saying Ajo Dabile. But we all know the way Nigeria is right now. We know what is inspiring people to seek greener pastures. But for you as an individual, and I know that your response will probably speak the mind of other people too, what would you say that are the 1, 2, 3 things that you would want to see happen in Nigeria, like specific things happen in Nigeria? You know, I don't want the abstract answer of political economic development, but like specific things that you want to see happen in Nigeria that can inspire you at some point, whether now or in future, to say, I want to relocate to Nigeria, or I want to go and invest in Nigeria, or I want to start going home more frequently too, because these things, the signs.
Okay, let me list the following. Number 1, good enabling environment, constant power supply, you know, creation of job opportunities. Once we have all this, what are we looking for?
Well,
That's it. Bro, let me tell you the truth. Most of the developed countries, okay, I might be abstract now because this is my field. Most of the developed countries, they also have their own challenges. But what do is that they ensure that the basic things, basic amenities are provided, so that in turn, they don't become problem, they don't become a threat, you know, to the government. Still, citizens are still protesting that they want increment in pay due to the ongoing crisis, you know, in Ukraine that has led to inflation, you know, this and that.
There's still protests going on in France.
Yeah, in France, you know, it has turned to something else. Same thing happening in Belgium, Brussels, happening too in Switzerland. Most countries, because most of these countries, you know, I'll say they are socialist countries. You know, the government subsidizes a whole lot of things. And
subsidizes now their lifestyle. Yeah.
Exactly. As I speak to you now, you know, inflation is biting hard. And if the government decide to keep on printing more money, it will lead to hyperinflation. The economy. So today, if I can sleep with my 2 eyes closed without opening one eye in terms of security, I will come home. I'll come and invest. Provide necessary amenities, basic amenities. That is what the people want from the government. If you like embezzle the whole world, no one cares. But the major things like provision of roads, equipment of schools, you know, employment opportunities, subsidizing, you know, tax waivers for upcoming startups, constant power supply, bro. No one will think of Japarians. That's the truth.
All right. Yeah, Ade, you have a question?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kayode. One of the questions I want to ask is going to deal with the fact that you are a family man.
Okay.
But it's majorly for single people like us that we have not family linked. So the thing is, in the UK, we have this gist that, you know, indigenous. So my question is, are spouse cars in the UK when it comes to a man,
husband
meeting
material, wife
a
material.
woman, exactly, a woman meeting a man, or husband material, wife material. Are these cars?
The truth is, the way the system has been configured will not even allow you to think of looking for a man or a woman.
Celibacy by force.
That's the truth. Because
Oh my goodness.
you want to work to pay bills. If you did not pay bills, your banks will pay it on your behalf. And you know what that means? If they give you certain
Overdraft.
hour for you to repay it and you did not pay, it enters overdraft and it will affect your credit score. People are, their relationships, no doubt. But an average Nigerian that come into the UK is coming to work. Because you need me ready for being, because okay now èmi tí mo earn in let's say £1,000 lóṣù ó ní kí ló máa ní girlfriend èmi kàn máa gbé bùkátà yìí ni. No. That's the truth.
Oh God.
That's it. So everybody is running away from responsibilities. So yìí tó máa fi jókòó sílé yẹn àbí tó máa lọ fi wá obìnrin lọ yẹn wà ní ó lọ fi ṣiṣẹ́ ìní àjẹnà ṣiṣẹ́ máa rí £200.
It's your life.
Exactly. Yẹ kọ́kọ́ zù náà kí n faṣẹ́ náà tí bá faṣẹ́ màá máa ṣe fàájì, but for now irọ́ tí mo jẹ gbèsè ní Nàìjíríà tí mo yáwó mo fi wá.
I'm telling you, used to sort all the way from Nigeria to the UK. Intercontinental, international billings.
It's just like one thing I saw on Twitter. It's like you are broke and you still have an erection. How come?
You be mumu. You think say they're wise? You are a mumu man.
And ibi báyìí dẹ̀rẹ̀ o lè jẹ́wọ́ wọ́n máa evict ẹni. Kò dẹ̀ sẹ́mi tó fẹ́ gbà tó máa gbà ẹ́.
No, Oga landlord, no give me that.
And one thing I like about this place is that even if you rent a private apartment and you don't stay with your landlord cannot come to your house uninvited. Your landlord will have to contact you first. Ade, will you be available? Okay, I won't be available. When do you think it's comfortable for you? Or when will be available for us to see? That's how it works here.
But they are only polite as long as you are paying your bills.
Exactly. It's even direct debit or standing order rather.
Wow.
Like me now, I pay my rent every first day of the new month. Direct debit in pra. I'll send to your account. Direct. On the first,
automated.
On the first, I pay my rent. On the 5th, I pay my electricity bill, direct debit, pram. Then later, I'll now be paying insurance, TV, sound system, and every other electronics in the apartment.
It's actually amazing. It's amazing to know that the guy who watch TV without paying for it.
I know the funny part. Even if you have a TV and want to watch TV, you need to get a license. £150 per, I think, every year.
It'd be like say this tax system in the UK is like we are enjoying. We're enjoying in the US new.
No problem. US is not
no problem. No problem at all.
Because fine, we pay tax, we pay a lot of other things here, but then it's not as serious as this.
In fact, you go good or stream live. You need to pay. Yes.
Yeah. Bro, funny enough, I heard a story about somebody who got arrested for watching Premier League on his phone. Like, he streams his stuff and he got arrested for that. I was like,
are you playing?
Are you kidding me?
Yes, Koparo.
What type of plane is this?
Ade, you have one more question so that we can.
Yes, please. One last question. Please, in the UK, is racism, this thing that we call racism, is this still a thing?
Yeah, racism is, let me just say, is the way you see racism in your own country might be different from the way we see racism here. Racism as a concept is something that has been before we were born, even before all these countries, before they metamorphose from kingdoms, into republics. Do you understand? Racism is prevalent everywhere. It's everywhere. It now depends on how it is being curbed, so it's different.
The same
There's no
general
place.
attack that we are having now.
It is general. Even in
Of
Nigeria, there's
is
racism, there's
as
tribalism
a
in
black
Nigeria.
man, you have this
So it is
as a white man.
everywhere, one way or the other. As a black in Europe or in any developed country, you will experience racism. You will experience it one way or the other, indirectly or directly. You will. So the way you now experience it might be different from the way others have experienced it.
And the way you
Very
respond to
violent,
it too, I guess, counts.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But generally, would you say that it's not as bad as people might think? Or
No. At least UK is fair, is okay. They are accommodating. It's a multicultural country compared to Italy or to Spain. Yeah.
So okay.
No, UK is a multicultural country, irrespective of, is open to everybody, irrespective of religion. At least the prime minister has an Indian root. The home secretary also has an Indian root. So that's I have to tell you how liberal and how multicultural the country is.
Okay, that brings me to.
I think that'll be all for me.
I it just came to my mind now. Let me use it maybe as a final question, so we wrap up. How true is it that maybe say mainstream London or UK has become almost like, earlier you talked about Lagos, it's London is almost like Lagos and everything. But I've also heard that especially with the whole migration thing, like almost everywhere you turn, you see a Nigerian, or you see, is that how it is truly?
Yeah, okay, this is it. Cities like Sheffield is home to Nigerians because of the presence of that university, Sheffield Hallam University.
Okay.
There's nowhere you go to, you see Nigerians. Sunderland, Nigerians are there. In Glasgow, yeah, too, as well.
How about Coventry and all those places?
Yeah, Coventry, Birmingham. I'm not talking about London now. I'm just trying to talk about other areas outside London.
Yeah.
Nigerians are everywhere in the UK. Everywhere. Even in Northern Ireland. Nigerians
All
are
these
there.
places where you call, I get one person, at least one person there.
You will have one person.
At least one person.
Nigerians are in Wales, but Nigerians are dominated. As far as what I know, Sheffield is home to Nigerians. Sheffield. As I speak to you, in fact, there are no even jobs again in Sheffield. People have to start going to nearby cities like Doncaster, Barnsley, to go look for work. Sometimes they even go to Manchester. You get it, to work because they're a bit closer. I think from Sheffield to Manchester is around 40-45 minutes by train. And and the beauty of the country is that everywhere is interconnected by train. Yes, everywhere is interconnected by train.
So moving around is quite easy.
It's quite easy. That is if there are no disruption. Maybe if you are using the train and there is rain, being cloudy, there might be disruption. But even at that, they'll still find an alternative.
Okay.
So the country is all properly organized. You cannot beat the system. You can't cheat the system. You can't. Even if you beat the system, they'll be waiting for you somewhere.
Thank you very much, Maki, for your sharing your experience with us. Thank you. I'm sure those who are listening to this episode too would have gained a lot of things from the things you said. I guess what we can just take from it on a general level is from what you said. Number one, if you want to come to the UK, have your money, plan adequately, and do your research. Don't just jump. Don't move based on somebody said.
said, yes.
Do your research, ask questions, and make sure that you have the resources that you are going to need. Don't sell your family house and just as
Yeah, he doesn't want it, bro. What
Yeah.
the property?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for time. And I'm sure very soon we'll still invite you, because I know that apart from this international student or JAPA issue, you have a very intellectual take on the Russian crisis right now.
Very,
very soon we are going to bring you back.
No problem. It's fine.
To discuss that.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
All right.
And thank you everyone for listening.
All right, Ali. Thanks to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for listening to our podcast today. And once again, it's your boy Ade Boy, and Ade is also signing out. Yeah, as usual, please make sure you like our video and make sure you subscribe to our channel. So peace out.